La Graciosa is known as the 8th inhabited Canary Island. The islands are part of Spain and are situated off the northwest coast of Africa. La Graciosa has a population of just 700 people and it can be reached by a 25-minute ferry ride from the north of Lanzarote.
This is the bus station in Arrecife. It's called the Estación de Guaguas. Note that guagua is the Canarian Spanish word for bus, whereas in Spain it's autobus. They say guagua here. I'm here because I'm getting the line number 9 to Orthala, which is the port to get the boat to La Graciosa Island. See now behind me, I've arrived at the port. There are two companies that run the ferry service between the north coast of Lanzarote and La Graciosa Island. We're both the same price, about €14 each way, but they go at different times. So I noticed some people are paying on the day to day. That might be fine at this time of year, but maybe in high season you would have to buy a few days in advance. That's what I did this time. I booked in advance on the internet a few days ago so that I could get on the boat that coincided with the time of the bus from Arrecife. If you get the bus from Arrecife, allow an hour gap between the arrival of the bus and the departure of the boat. My bus left Arrecife on time, but I arrived here 20 minutes late. It stopped at every stop, so it was very slow. So I'm glad I allowed myself that hour. There is a cafe here at the port, so if you do get here a bit too early, you've got somewhere to go and get a drink and something to eat.
In the distance, you can see the island of La Graciosa. The journey to La Graciosa takes around 30 minutes and there are several ferries every day.
So I've made it onto the island of La Graciosa to the north of Lanzarote. It's just how I imagined it to be. Very, very quiet, very similar to other islands I've been to that don't have airports, such as Tilos in Greece and Levanzo off the coast of Sicily. I have videos on both those islands. Those of you who've been following me for a while know that I do like coming to small islands, and when I'm back in Scotland I usually go to some of their islands too. I've been to quite a lot of them. This is what I prefer to do and escape the crowds. So again, I'm having this signature dish from the Canary Islands, papas arrugadas, wrinkled potatoes. So this is upstairs, the bedroom, with a wardrobe and a bathroom. So it's quite spacious just for one person. There's a balcony too. Some really nice views there with the countryside. And there's also a second bathroom just off the lounge, although this one doesn't have a shower in it. Hi! Are you coming to see me? You know I'm a cat person. Hello! Hello! Ooh. Hello! cat that was just meowing at me outside my apartment, and he's came and sat on my knee. My own cats at home don't even sit on my knee as easily as this. I'll miss you when I leave the island, won't I? Yes. Behind me is the main beach in the main village, and it's very, very quiet now. It's still warm outside, but I suppose anyone that's been here on a day trip today will have gone home by this time because it's about 4:30, I think. But even today, I came over here at lunchtime, and you'll see on the video as well, it wasn't that busy. But there are other beaches in the island that I'm going to hike to that are impossible to do if you just come for a day trip. I mean, the day trip's not usually a full day, and there's not very many that come either. It's not every single day either, so they usually just get maybe 2-3 hours on the island, and then they go back on the boat and the excursion takes them somewhere else. That's what I read before I came anyway, but for me this is just perfect. There's no noise, it's silent everywhere apart from the sea. There's a bit of wind though. I just wanted to talk a bit about the facilities I've spotted on the island so far. So behind me, the yellow shop there is a bike hire shop, and I'm sure there's more than one of those on the island. Cycling is popular here, so there's a lot of people hiring bikes. Just across the road from the yellow bike shop is a grocery shop. There are 2 or 3 in the main village, and at least one of them is open till quite late at night, so you don't get stuck without any food or drink. And for restaurants and bars, I'd say there's at least about 5 or 6 that I've spotted so far, the majority along the seafront, and some of them are open all day without closing after lunch, and especially the bar ones that are on the beach as well, they're staying open all day till about 10:30 at night. So there are good facilities here. I've seen at least 1 cash machine in a small bank, but possibly 2. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I've definitely seen a cash machine, so that's something else useful. So I just spotted there's a little pharmacy here on the island too, so that's useful. Considering this is a small island, the grocery shop I went in was very well stocked. This sauce is the sauce they use when they make papas arrugadas. Good morning. This is my first morning on the island of La Graciosa, and there is no tourist board here, so I wanted to do a jeep excursion, and the only way you can do that is by looking at the adverts and ringing them up. So last night I came across one, and I was walking past one of the bike shops, and they had some jeeps outside, and the lady was just closing the shop, and she asked me if I wanted anything. So I told her I was looking for a jeep excursion, and she said there might be a group I can join this morning, but they'd have to phone me. Anyway, they phoned me this morning at 11 o'clock. We can go for a 2-hour excursion to the other side of the island where it's a bit too far to walk. So the only way I could get there is on one of the jeep excursions. So I'm on my way there now. One other thing I would say is I'm a fluent Spanish speaker, so I can sort all these things without a problem. If you don't speak Spanish, it's probably a good idea to install Google Translate, because I've seen no British tourists here. There's a few foreigners, but really not many. The majority is Spanish. So you might have some difficulty in sorting things out if you don't speak Spanish. Even the owner of the accommodation, she wasn't there when I arrived, and I had to ring her up and do all that in Spanish as well. She made a mistake with the day of arrival and it was sorted. She came and cleaned it all and everything was fine. So I've had quite a few things to sort out that I've needed Spanish for. So if you're coming here and you don't speak Spanish, install Google Translate app on your phone. And this is the shop where I booked the Jeep excursion. As you can see, the ground's a little bit wet because we've had showers this morning. They're due to go off now, so we should have a dry afternoon. So at least the rain stopped, but it's not quite warmed up yet. It'll be warm again this afternoon. It's still quite early. This is the first stop on the excursion. This is the other village on the island called Pedro Barba. There's only about 20 houses here. I don't think there's any facilities, but we've got 10 minutes or so to walk around and take pictures. And the driver pointed out to us the unusual style of some of these little houses with really small blue doors. They are really, really cute. Some people in my group looking through the windows. I don't know whether that's someone's house or not. All the group that I'm with on this trip are from other Canary Islands, which is good for my Spanish. I'm the only foreigner, so everybody is speaking to me in Spanish. This is a small natural pool. Playa Francesa. Behind me is the mountain called Montaña Amarilla, Yellow Mountain. It's still very windy, but it's nowhere near as windy as it was on the north coast, and it's about 20 degrees so far, so it's still approaching lunchtime, so it's probably going to be about 22, 23 this afternoon. It is only the beginning of March. I think this beach gets quite busy with people on day trips in summer when the weather's hotter. You can see some people walking in the distance. They'll be going to some of the other beaches around the coast. So for lunch, as usual, when I'm in the Canary Islands, I always have the same dish, papas arrugadas. This is mojo sauce. This is the spicy red one that I prefer. There's also a green sauce that you can get with it. I've seen both of these in the local shop, but I've also ordered some local cheese with mojo sauce. So we'll see what that's like. I've not got it yet. We'll see when it comes. And this is local cheese with the same sauce they used for the papas arrugadas. And this is the way to Playa Salado. It's still very windy, so I won't be sitting on the beach. I just want to go and have a look. I'm just leaving the apartment now and I'm going to go on a hike for a couple of hours. In front of me, the view, it looks like a desert, and it reminds me of the desert I went to in Jordan. And I really liked that. I did a video on it. So this is going to be interesting. It's going to be very different to hiking at home. There are 3 mountains in front of me. So I'll just turn the camera around to show you. So this mountain on the left side is Montaña Amarilla, Yellow Mountain, which I saw yesterday. You've then got one in the middle, which is the one I'm going up today. It's called Montaña del Mojón. And the one on the right is the biggest one. If you want more of a challenge, I'd recommend that one. Apparently it's a bit more difficult towards the top, which is why I'm not doing it. And unfortunately it's still windy today, so it's going to be windy on the video. The wind will calm down tomorrow, but I've got another day of breezy weather, unfortunately, but it's still warm and sunny, so that's the main thing. So my apartment's here on the back row of the village, so this is the last row before you reach this desert-like landscape. You can see another person in the distance there. So this path is just like walking on sand, basically. I'm now very close to the mountain that I wanted to go up. I'm hoping it's not going to be too steep. It's hard to tell from here, but the wind is the main issue so far. It's a headwind and it's restricting me. I'm having to work harder to move, so I'll turn the camera around and then you can see how close I am to this mountain. So disappointed that it was far too windy to do the final ascent up to the top. There's 2 people up there, so they're very brave, but for me that looked a bit too risky. I was almost falling over in the wind by the time I got to the cairn, so I sat in the middle of the cairn to avoid it. And now that I'm back down to a bit of a lower level, it's much more reasonable, so I think I might just have to put up with a flat or flattish walk today. But I might have a look at one of these small hills, see if I can get up on one of them and get some pictures. So it's a bit calmer now because I'm on the ground level, on the last bit of the path towards the village. I tried going up the baby hill, but even that was far too windy. So I've come back down. I'm just doing a walk on the flat. There's not much I can do about it really. It's just today's a bit too windy to go uphill. So it's lunchtime now. So I'm going back to the village now, and I'm going to have my favourite usual Canarian dish, papas arrugadas. So sadly it's now time to leave the island. I'm going to be leaving on one of the boats at the port just behind me there. I've just said goodbye to the cats from the apartment next door. I hope you've liked the video. I will have some others coming up on some more small islands this year, and I've done some in the past which I'll link in the description. If you like the video, please subscribe, like, comment, to help my channel grow with the algorithm, and I'll have a separate video coming up on Lanzarote. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.